What's going on, everybody? Brad Cohen, Harman Realty, back again for another real estate advice video. In times like these, it can be very difficult to predict what's going to happen in any market, but particularly the housing market. Different news articles are going to tell you different headlines, and it makes it very, very difficult to predict. In this video, I'm going to talk about why it is impossible to time the housing market. So, why is it difficult to predict the housing market? Well, real estate, unlike a lot of data, is largely lagging data. The only leading indicator that we have to indicate what's going to happen in the future of the real estate market is contract activity for a given month. Think about it this way. A contract that is signed today is not actually going to go to closing until probably 30 to 60 days down the line. And the home sales that are being reported today had contracts that were signed 2 months ago. And 2 months can be a lot of time for the market. We've experienced that right now with just watching what's happened to interest rates. In the last month, we went from 3.9% to now 5.15% for the average mortgage interest rate. And a lot can change during that time period. Why do I think that is important right now? Well, right now in Harrisonburg, what you may be hearing in the news is not necessarily in line with what the data is showing. March contract activity was the strongest month of contract activity we've had in 10 years, where we had over 187 contracts signed. And as I'm recording this in April, we've already had 100 contracts signed for the month of April. So the two leading indicators that we have for the last 2 months of data while we've been in this climbing interest rate environment has been very strongly in favor of continuing forward. When we compare April contract activity to last year, there was 151 contracts signed in April. So now, while we may be a little bit behind pace right now, I think the major contributor to that is the number of new listings that we've seen this month. There's only been 104 new listings so far this month, and we still have about 10 days left in April to collect full data. So essentially, contract activity is a leading indicator to go off of. The other leading indicators that we can go off of are those national headlines, those indicators that always point to housing. Housing is always voted as a good long-term investment. So when things are tumultuous in other markets, housing typically is something people fall back on. Right now, home buyer sentiment is at the lowest levels that it's ever been. Home builder sentiment is also at some of the lowest levels that it's ever been. So could those things come into play into our summer market? Quite possibly. The problem is we won't know that until another 60 days or 90 days down the line, or maybe even a quarter or two down the line. The reason it's nearly impossible to predict the real estate market is because the data is always lagging. You can always look to those major indicators, but you never know for certain. So, in conclusion, if you're thinking about timing the real estate market, it's nearly impossible. Always look to your local real estate professionals who have the most up-to-date data that will be specific and tailored to your needs so you can make the most informed decision possible. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I love talking real estate with people. Brad Cohen, Harman Realty, your local real estate professional.